and welcome to the Blended Learning Mixtape Jamming with EduProtocols for Engaging and Effective Lessons. My name is Sarah Cardwell, and I'm a Blended Learning Coordinator in Watauga County Schools. And so let's get started with today's session. What we're going to be talking about today follows right along with our ISTE Educator Standards. We're going to be looking at you as a learner, a collaborator, and a designer. And this also aligns right with our student standards. It's really just EduProtocols, and we're going to bring in a little bit of generative AI, and that can equate to engagement. So we're going to start our brains warmed up today. We're going to start with, what song do these images represent? If you guessed Purple Rain, you were correct. This was done using Canva AI, generative AI magic media is what it's called, where you can put in the lyrics to a song or anything that you want an image created, but I did the lyrics to a song. This is what it came up with. This is a great way to get students thinking. You could do it through a variety of different ways, but let's keep going and see if you can get the next one. If you guessed Don't Stop Believing, you were correct. Awesome. All right, let's get to the last one. It's a little bit more difficult. If you guessed Blank Space by Taylor Swift, you were right. So as you can see, some different options that you have here with that activity, and that was simply done using Canva Magic. So what we're going to talk about today is instructional practices. So what does good teaching look like? Take a moment to reflect. You probably came up with some of these options: differentiation, cooperative learning, feedback, having movement, those formative assessments, and engagement. This is nothing new. We've been doing this for many, many years in education, but sometimes we need to give things a little bit of a different spin. So we're going to be talking today about utilizing EduProtocols. If you're not familiar with those, I encourage you to go to the website and click the icon right here, which is just different ways to use those instructional strategies to engage students in their learning. Where this session is going to differ a little bit is that we're going to also add in and enhance it a little bit using some generative AI. So the first strategy we're going to take a look at is that collaborative learning piece using Jigsaw. In this case, I'm going to model how you can do that with a unit for vocabulary for deeper learning. And one of the tools we're going to be doing that is utilizing School AI for students to actually interact with AI. So how we're going to do that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the Iron Chef lesson. So what the Iron Chef lesson is it's a timed activity, but students will work in groups with one source of information. In that case, I'm going to go ahead and give you that. That's going to be your generative AI. And you're going to come up with some facts and images, and each student or member of your group will complete one slide, and you will have 10 minutes to do this. Now, typically after the groups have worked together, they would then come and present. But in this case, you're kind of on your own. So let's get started. First, you'll click on the link right here to open up your slide deck. You'll notice that we are meeting the 7th grade social studies standard through this activity. And you're going to be answering a problem through this process. Your problem is that your people are facing starvation due to a five-year drought. How will your government provide food for them? So in opening up the slides, you'll see you would be working, if you were a student, in a group. And in your group, you would decide which type of government you would like. So one member of the group will take monarchy, and they're going to interact with Cleopatra. I know that she wasn't truly a monarch, but in this case, for students, that's something for them to help figure them out. Democracy, you'd be interacting with Abraham Lincoln. Republic, we have Leonardo da Vinci. And then aristocracy, we have Sir Isaac Newton. So if I was the democracy student, then you can see that I would fill in the definition that I know of democracy, examples of the government. I can add an image here. And then here's where I can add some facts, but also go back to solving that problem. You're facing a 5-year drought. How would your government help? To interact with the AI, you simply can click on the image. And notice that School AI space will come up. You're just going to enter your name. You don't have to sign up for accounts. This is a really great free generative AI that's safe for students, but I can just put my initials in here and join. And now I can have a full interaction with Abraham Lincoln. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to complete one of these slide decks. and then we'll come back together. All right, well, that 10 minutes was nice and quick, wasn't it? Hopefully you paused the video. So this is a great activity because students will then present to their peers and they're all presenting on the same topic. This allows for that repetition, which is really important for that information to sink in, and also for students to hear the same information different ways. If you really like this Iron Chef protocol and you liked how we kind of incorporated that generative AI, check out some of these other templates that I have here for you. All right, our next strategy, we're going to be doing a collaborative learning using a think, pair, share. Again, think, pair, share is nothing new. It's turn and talk to your neighbor, right? And you can do this for comparing and analyzing texts that are differentiated. So we're going to start with a instructional strategy with EduProtocol called Cyber Sandwich. And the generative AI is going to look a little different because we're going to be bringing in what's known as DIFFIT. Okay, so to get started with this one, you can see each partner researches a separate topic for 10 minutes. In this case, I'm going to give you a specific article, one on matrilineal society and one on patriarchy. Okay, so because we're going to be comparing. So each partner will read their article and then they will discuss. So you can research for about 10 minutes and then partners will discuss their findings, completing a Venn diagram. So the template is right up here, Cyber Sandwich. I'm going to make a copy. And so you can go ahead and push this out to your students. That's completely up to you. But in this case, you all would make a copy. And here's what it will look like. So this is a template so that you have access to it. But if I have a group of two, student one, so if they're reading the article on matrilineal society, they're going to take their notes here. The student reading the article on patriarchy will take their notes here. And then when it's time, this is where they're going to do that compare and contrast. This is a Venn diagram, but notice it's not circular because sometimes you don't have enough space in the middle. So this is a great way to have the alternative. The other reason why I really like this strategy is that it holds students accountable. Students do not read both articles. So they have to lean on each other to have that knowledge of what they took away from the article. So the partners discuss their findings and then they present to the class, or you could do it kind of like a gallery walk type situation. What's really nice about this is you'll notice that the generative AI was not the big shiny tool. It wasn't the big thing. So how did it work? Well, DIFFIT is a way to differentiate text. It is a freemium. What I mean by that is most of the things are free, but as always, there are some things that do cost money. So here's you'll see the article. So here's the Patriarchal Society in Rome. Notice that this one is at a 3rd grade reading level, and this one's at a 5th grade reading level. There's no difference between the two. It's the same image. It looks the same, but the vocabulary and some of the information goes a little bit deeper. Now, one of the reasons why I do like DIFFIT is that it can tell me where it got the information from. So as a sources, and I can't edit this. The reason why it's a freemium is you see some of the options over here. Some are free, some are not. So but it's a great way for students to interact with their vocabulary as part of their reading so that they can actually access that text. So DIFFIT's a great way. Get this back in present mode for students to interact. And notice that cyber sandwich, again, it's that think, pair, share, but it's also a comparing and contrasting. So there's lots of different strategies going on here, but students are engaged and they are able to access the text at their level. So take a few minutes to click right here on cyber sandwich to get started with these articles. All right, welcome back. So if you are wondering, you may have chosen one particular article and you're like, oh, I wanted to see what the other ones. So here's a comparison of the matrilineal, the difference. You'll notice that overall, just in brief looking, you don't really quite see the difference between 3rd grade and 6th grade. But as you start to read the passages, you'll notice that the vocabulary becomes a little bit more difficult. The sentence structure becomes a little bit more complex. All of those things that as readers become more confident in their abilities, they're able to then put into practice as part of their comprehension. So again, that's that differentiated text, and you can create the articles within generative AI, or actually if you have your own text or excerpt, you can differentiate that text using generative AI known as DIFFIT. So for best use of generative AI, ask yourself these questions. Again, it's not, while school AI is cool that they can interact with the different historical figures, does it engage the students? Does it differentiate? Does it provide feedback? If it's just students interacting as a one-off, that probably is not the best way to use it as part of your instructional strategies. All right, we're going to wrap up today with a dice reflection game. So you can roll a dice and based off of that number, answer the following question. To take a moment to reflect. All right, now that you've had some time to reflect, you'll notice at the bottom that I actually utilize generative AI to create this prompt here. So I said create 15 reflection questions. Create 15 reflection questions for teachers on instructional strategies that they just experienced through model lessons using generative AI and EduProtocols. Now, the reason why I chose 15 is I'm not going to use all of them. Some of them may not be that great. I was able to narrow down the focus, reword them. But I also am giving credit. I did not write these questions. Yes, I may have adapted them quite a little bit to meet my needs for this particular session, but I'm giving the generative AI the credit. So that is something that you're going to start to see more and more of. All right, thanks for joining, and I hope you got something new from this session.